Greetings once again. My name is Lance Miller, and this is a video summary for System Analysis and Design as we continue our adventure on our online college. We have been tasked to set up a registration form for students. So let's dive right on in. So what I've done here is created a form through Google Docs, which is pretty neat. There's not a whole lot of options you can fool around with like you would using bigger programs, but it does help get some of the main points across. So let's open up our registration form. Here's some basic layouts as you go through your design process. Everything is nice and linear. You can't really stack fields side by side, but it does help with a linear progression to which I think would be really nice for this type of form. So of course we can set up required fields and so forth, and also set up data validation. So let's actually take a look at the live form here, which is we have this basic theme. So we're going to talk about a few points across on user feedback and also data validation. So let's take a look at some user feedback. Now user feedback has kind of like different meaning when it comes to forms, I would say, to where user feedback includes things that prompt the user that they're inputting their information correctly or incorrectly. So for example, one of the most common things you'll see, especially when you fill out surveys or any type of, I'm going to sign up for this website or sign up for this, that they have required fields. This is a very basic user feedback type of tool here that you have selected the information that that the person really needs. So like here we've got a first name, last name, the social security number, date of birth, and some of the general information that is needed, especially for our college here. So and this is especially is a good type of user feedback to let them know that these things are required. Now another user feedback option that we can use is context menus or help buttons. A good way to use context menu here is over the social security number. We have do not include hyphens. So this is prompting up, showing them, hey, do not include hyphens when you type in your social security number. Awesome. Another example using the help buttons. You mainly will probably see this more in financial aid forms. They might require a certain line from like a W-2 or something like that, and usually you can click on the help question mark next to it. It says, hey, if you look on line 17A or something like that, you'll be able to obtain this information and then you can input it to the form, which is really great. Pretty much the third most common type of user feedback would be the confirmation page. So as we go through here, we will type in some information. Now we've got some default stuff here. We'll do that. We'll type, of course, I inputted some information and saying date of birth. So we definitely need to make sure to put that in. We'll go with what I have currently. Yes, we'll just say that right there. And we will finish this up. So we went through here and we've got, besides social security number, of course, we don't want to include hyphens. So we'll just put 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 5, 5, 5, 5. Generic little social security number there, and then we'll submit it. So now we've got our confirmation page that we know that we put our data in correctly, and now we've got this feedback telling us that the form has submitted. Now, as we go back, we can talk about some data validation. Now this required mark here also gives us an all-in-one utility. We have data validation and also user feedback. So of course, if I select the page here, of course it's telling us these are required fields. We can also come here and try to submit, and of course it will highlight all these fields telling us data needs to be input. A second field that I would think will require data validation is the social security number. Social security number is definitely a unique key and can be set up and access database, to which is, I would imagine, would be widely used for doing forms like these. You can set this field up as a primary key, and as people submit, it goes into the database, and if there's a duplicate entry, it's automatically going to kick it back and give the user an error, which I can demonstrate with a sample spreadsheet here. That this is a sample entry that I've made earlier that has been submitted to the spreadsheet. Now, if a student accidentally types in the same social security number in the form, it's going to give them an error, and that's what we need to do. So it's going to kick back in the database and then prompt the user that they have duplicate entry. Of course, they can go back and change it if they need to, but more likely it could have been a typo. And typos are the most common that goes around. Of course, they can exit off and then go back and change their entry. Now, a third field thing will require data validation is the ACT score. Maybe not the third field, second field, wherever number we're at. ACT score. Of course, the highest number you can make on the ACT is a 36. So we need to be able to allow users not to exceed that threshold. So we don't need to be able to have them put in a 54 on their ACT score, because it's impossible. Because the ACT score will allow teachers or counselors to place students in the classes that they need to. Another field that would be helpful to have data validation, expected graduation date / year. It was easier to use the year here since the Google Forms doesn't really give you a whole lot of customization options for selecting dates. But here for the year, we can set it up not to go below 2013, the current year, because more likely new users will be using this. So they don't need to be able to say, hey, I'm expected to graduate in 2009, and it's 2013. So we definitely don't want them to be able to do that. So they need to be able to type in 2013 or higher for the expected graduation year, which would really help. Other than that, I think that hits a few of the main points for some user feedback and also some data validation. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much.